What if I told you that behind the flower takes on Korea, #blessed, #living in Korea, #expat in Korea, was a girl filled with a lot of guilt, pain, and trauma? My name is Flower, and this is my very short version of my story, and my road to recovery after numerous experiences in Korea with sexual assault and also an unwanted and unplanned pregnancy, and how it has had a detrimental effect and impact on my life as a woman, and especially as an expat woman in South Korea. What I want people to know is that my story is mild compared to so many other women's stories, and I feel very privileged to have the opportunity to share it, as scary as it is being this vulnerable and sharing something so personal. We are living in a time where it is really important for women, I feel, for women to raise their voices and to speak up about these experiences, because the bottom line is nothing is going to change if we as women don't stand together and talk about these issues and raise our voices as loud as we possibly can. My story is not unique. In fact, this happens every day to women all over the world, but I never imagined that it would happen to me. And what I want women to take away from my story is the importance of saying no, the importance of women having the courage to stand up against something that they do not feel comfortable with. Some of my experiences that I've had in Korea were entirely out of my control. Other experiences, perhaps I could have been a bit more forceful with my no's, but the bottom line is that my no's were ignored numerous times in numerous situations, which led to very unpleasant situations, all because my no's were ignored. And this is something that women in Korea and around the world need to learn to do, that saying no is okay, and that men around the world and in Korea need to learn that no means no. My first situation happened many years ago in Korea when I was a complete newbie to Korea, very unaware of the culture, very unaware of the situation, of how men are here, and a simple night out in a club led to me being left in a noribang, naked and alone when I woke up the next morning. It was the most frightening experience I had had to date at the time, not knowing where I was, completely unaware of what had happened to me, and most importantly, not being aware of who had been with me and what had happened to my own body. Now, I know many people, their natural response would be, number 1, why did she go to the club? Number 2, why did she drink? Number 3, she was probably asking for it. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the narrative needs to change. It's not about what I wore that night. It's not about how much I drank that night. It's not about which club I went to. It's about the mere fact that somebody did not have enough respect for me as a human and as a woman, and thought that my body was a mere toy to them, there for their satisfaction. To this day, I don't know what happened to me that night. I could have been raped. I don't know how bad it was, but the point is I was assaulted, and I had no idea of the situation that had happened to me that night. And that is a very frightening thing, especially for any woman who is a control freak like myself. Feeling that you have been taken advantage of when you're not aware is the most frightening feeling. Korea is struggling with a huge problem with hidden cameras, men taking videos of women without their knowledge, and there's been a lot of documentaries around this lately, and it is something that women need to continue to speak up about. So not only had I had an experience where I was completely unaware of what happened to me one night, I have also been in the situation where I was filmed without my knowledge until I came across the camera. At no point was I asked if it was okay. At no point was I aware of it, and it was equally as frightening. These kinds of situations are not okay, and it is our duty as women to start speaking out about it and informing other men and women that it's not okay. It is not okay on any level to take advantage of somebody, especially their body, without their consent. And if I've learned anything as an expat woman in Korea, it's this. It's that the patriarchy is alive and well here. No means absolutely nothing to men in this country, as in most countries. And women are still very much seen as an object of, sexual satisfaction to many men that have not been taught that women are, not simply here for sexual satisfaction. And it's a growing concern, and this is why I feel so strongly about speaking up and sharing my story today. Some of you may be aware of the N-Bang scandal that happened not too long ago, as well as the hidden cameras in hotel rooms, in stations all over Korea. And it's a really frightening thing as a woman, knowing that you can't even go out somewhere and be safe. You can't even go to a toilet without possibly having your body exposed to a major online platform. And this is where people in Korea and education is so important, and where you can see it is seriously lacking. Sex and everything that comes with sex is still such a taboo thing in Korea, to the point that, hidden cameras taking videos of women without their consent, sexual assault, rape, it's just not taken to change the narrative. We have got to start making men aware of their actions. Men need to start taking responsibility for their actions, and the blame needs to shift away from the woman. What we wear, what we drink, what club we go to should not matter. We are not always asking for it. Often we just want to simply have a good time with our girlfriends, but it's come to the point in the world where we can't even do that. As an expat woman in Korea, and as the founder of a expat women's group, I see it on a daily basis. I get messages on a daily basis from women, talking about their experiences of sexual assault, abuse, violence against them. And at not one point have these women asked for it. They have not asked for it. It is simply what has happened to them due to their partners or the men involved in the situation having so little respect for them as women and as human beings. I think one of the biggest positive changes that could happen for us as women around the world is having our men standing by our side and supporting us, and realizing how important this kind of global fight is for all women around the world. Having supportive men, having men who get it, having men by our side who understand our past struggles, pain and trauma, who are not going to judge us, who are just going to love us and support us, and who are going to raise their voices as well against the atrocities that women face. That, I think, is going to be the most powerful thing that can happen for women around the world. And that is, I think, where we will truly start to see the change, is when men are rising up with us and not against us, where men are helping creating policies, where male leaders are making policies that are going to protect their women in their country, and not just policies that are there to promote themselves. And it's going to take a lot of hard work, and it's going to require an entire shift in the mind for many people. But I really believe that we need our men, we need our good, kind, amazing men on board with us for any kind of positive change to happen. So to all the men out there that are on our side, to all the men out there who do get it, to all the men out there who are making a noise for us, I just want to say thank you. We value you, and we're so grateful to have you, especially my husband, because he has been such a key player in helping me overcome what happened to me in the past. And that is what we need. We need supportive male partners with us to help us get through these. Like I said, mine is not nearly as dramatic as some women. I have female friends who have been through a lot more than me. But that's the other thing. Every woman's story is valid. And for a long time, I felt like my story didn't matter. It didn't matter that I woke up in a motel with no clothes on, completely unaware of what had happened to me. It didn't matter that I'd woken up in a nori bung with no clothes on, completely unaware of what had happened to me. But my story is valid, and every woman's story is valid. And the more that we speak up about it, and the more that we make a noise saying that it is unacceptable and it is not okay, the more we can see the change, and the more we can educate those who need to be educated about it. So I just want to close by saying that to any woman that is out there that has been a victim of assault, abuse, you're not alone. And I encourage you to try and share your story with whoever you feel comfortable with sharing it with. Know that you're not alone. Know that you are amazing and powerful and wonderful, and that your story has a purpose and a reason, and it will no doubt help another woman in the world to overcome their own challenges and their own situations. So 여자POWER to every woman out there who needs us today. 여자 means woman in Korean, and power, well, girl power, and this is something that I hope to really make happen in Korea, to flag this 여자POWER flag high for every woman here, and to try and continue to be a voice and a support for other women who have gone through tough and challenging situations. Keep the 여자POWER flying, ladies. We can do this.